No multiple choice.
And what I'm going to do real quick too is just mute everyone. It's not like I don't want to hear you guys, but just want to make sure that our presenters can present their pitches with as little distraction as possible. Okay, I think we're waiting just for one more person to answer the poll, and then there we go. So I'm going to end it. Looks like we got a lot of entrepreneurs out there, which is awesome. Love having entrepreneurs support other entrepreneurs in their ventures. Got one person looking to start a venture, so it's inspirational to be a part of this. Got an investor out there, a couple marketers, a designer, some software developers, and a bunch of others. Would love to figure out who all these others are. Be cool maybe if you wrote it in the chat, like if you didn't fit one of these profiles, what you actually do. But as I said, the community is made up of varying people. That's one thing that I always loved about it, and why I've continued to participate in A2NewTech prior to becoming the host. But this is a really great place to kind of meet different people in the community, either doing something like you are or maybe complementary. Another really great place to meet people is in our little Slack group. I'm going to share the link to everybody in the meeting here. It's madeina2.com/Slack. Jump on there. You can ask questions. There's some great ones out there if you're looking for jobs or you have positions available, so much more. So check that out. And before we jump into our main event here, I just want to quickly thank all of our sponsors who keep this running and going. First of all, A2 Geeks. I want to thank them, Roger Rails as well, our co-organizers at the Entrepreneurship Clinic at U of M's Law School, as well as Ann Arbor Spark. With that, we're going to jump into our, just quickly for our first timers, just in case like you aren't familiar with the format, we're just going to go through how this is going to work tonight. We got 4 great pitches coming at you, 5 minutes a pop, and then we're going to do 5 minutes of Q&A. Type your questions into the chat. They'll read it and answer. They have 5 minutes for that. And if they don't get to your question during that 5-minute span, don't worry about it. They'll be able to respond in chat. Then we'll move into community announcements. In this virtual world that we've been doing it, we'll have you write it into the chat there, and we'll move it over to the meetup page, so then you can see all the announcement there. And then afterwards, stick around after the pitches and the community announcements for breakout rooms. You'll be able to network and interact with the varying people in the community. So we're going to kick things off with Heidi and Eric from 4M. With 4M is a 10 townhouse ecosystem that marries co-living, co-working, and shared mobility services into a single campus. Then we'll go to Ben with Golden Record. Golden Record eliminates much of the time that highly paid data scientists today have to put into preparing and matching their data sets before they can even start building their predictive models. Then we got Tim from Bramble. Bramble is the everything cart that will allow users to centralize items from different e-commerce stores to one cart and streamline the checkout process. And lastly, Tommy will talk about Cubed. Cubed is designed to expand and fill the market for innovative workplace and workplace wellness products. So with that, I'm going to spotlight Heidi, our presenter, and then Eric will share the presentation and we'll kick things off. So Heidi, whenever you're ready, we'll jump into it.
Well, thanks everyone. It's really great to be here. This is the first opportunity we've had to present to a large group locally, so we're super excited about it. Forum was designed for what we call aligned living. And this presentation is really it's to explain what forum and that terminology really means. So first of all, I want you to know a few things about our team. What I want you to know is that our team has broad expertise in real estate, in telecom, in energy and renewable energy, in transportation, and in digital services. And all of these broad areas of expertise really influenced how we designed and built Forum. Secondly, and maybe even more importantly, I want you to know that we're invested in the local community and we're members that are here for the long haul. And I think what makes that important is that when we do make investment decisions, we try to balance our new business models with creating some form of common good. So when you take those two things together, I think we're uniquely positioned to launch this aligned living concept right here in Ann Arbor. Okay, so aligned living, what does that mean? What it means is that we offer facilities and infrastructure to support our residents in a unique way. We remove the distractions. We provide everything that is needed for our residents, and we allow them to prioritize what's really important to them. So we provide those services, those aligned living services in 11 townhouses. But in addition to that, we offer collaboration and co-working space. So we have open collaboration space. We have individual conference rooms. We have creative space. We're even building some outdoor co-working pods that are very cool. We have a really nicely put together shared mobility package. We offer every modality you can think of in terms of shared mobility. You don't need a car to live and work and thrive at Forum, and we actually don't even want you to bring a car. We have a services bundle that I think is really exceptional. We offer 14 teleconferencing stations. We have a full fiber drop. We offer 24/7 network support and cybersecurity. There's a lot to our services bundle that we don't have time to go over today. It's very rich, and I look forward to the opportunity to speaking with people about that. So just to give you some idea of some pictures that go with all the words. The upper line is concept drawings that were created when we did our architectural drawings, and then down below, this is where we are in terms of our build. We're pretty far along. In fact, we're getting ready to launch very soon. This just gives you some idea of what our internal space looks like. On the left, we have a great room in one of our townhouses. And on the right, it shows you individual suites that are built for residents. The suites include sleeping space, living space, storage space, individual bathrooms. So the suites really provide private sanctuary for anybody who is in our aligned living space. And in talking about the amenities, sometimes we forget to talk about how sleek and attractive the space really is, but they're beautiful spaces and they're going to be beautifully furnished. Here's some pictures of our co-working space. So the open collaboration space is up in the left-hand corner. I mentioned we have some creative space. So down below, there's a podcast studio. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a video set. And then down below, it shows you, it just gives you a concept of the open space, the private conference rooms, and that type of thing. So obviously it's important within the context of this meeting to talk about our fit within the regional concept, within the regional tech community. We have a modular approach that allows for a soft landing. So anybody who wants to come here to get into the regional market, whether it's an individual or a company, there's a reduced initial investment. Our cost model is 45% lower than typical costs. Our structure allows people to make individual impacts in terms of environmental sustainability, reducing gridlock, energy consumption, pollution, and that type of thing. But most importantly, I think, is that our modular approach allows for us to create benefits that bring new innovation into the community. Next slide. As I mentioned, our doors are almost open. We continue to build strategic partnerships that strengthen our ecosystem. We are fanatical about customer service and support, and we've really earned that reputation through our other real estate endeavors. I guess my closing message is that we've got a lot to offer, and the people on this call work and know people that that can take this from being a cool concept to a really amazing facility. So we invite you to spread the word and really reach out and let people know that we're interested in answering questions and giving people time within our community for a test drive. So thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing Forum with us. This is really cool. I remember when we first chatted about it, I thought it was really great to have, especially, you know, as an entrepreneur myself, like having the space and the opportunity to kind of bring an idea to life is really cool. So any questions for Heidi?
Oh, okay. Here's an obvious question about COVID. Yeah, no, COVID's a big deal. So we're taking extra measures, not only in Forum, but in all of the real estate that we own and manage. And that involves cleaning protocols and that type of thing. We're really fortunate with respect to Forum because when COVID hit, we were able to make some changes to our HVAC system to allow for a lot more clean air circulation and some internal HVAC air tempering that really scrubs the air and cleans it. There are a lot of selections we made around materials that are kind of germ resistant and inhospitable to germs. So we did as much as we could. At the end of the day, you know, it's safe practices are incumbent upon all of us. So Forum won't be any different than any other place where people live together in terms of managing the effects of COVID. The space is located at the corner of Stadium and Henry and Industrial. There's a kind of a five-way intersection there. It's really apparent if you drive by down Stadium Drive. What's the age range we're targeting? You know, I think we're targeting less an age range and more a place in terms of personal evolution or company evolution. I know that there are a lot of cohorts that would benefit from being located at Forum. You know, if you're living in an outer suburb and you're tired of driving into work and you want to give transportation without having, without the requirement to have a car, a try, you kind of give up the whole grid lot thing. That's a great alternative. But also we've been talking to companies that are interested in our market because of automotive or bioscience. And the whole idea of a soft landing in terms of being able to come into a place that's just 100% ready to go and ready to support people that are looking to evolve. I think that's less of an age thing and more of a where you are in the evolution of your business kind of thing. An idea about cost. Yeah, so we've done a lot of cost analysis, and we think because of how we've structured the economics around what we offer, that will be about 45% less cost below if somebody tried to do all of these same, combine all of the same elements themselves. Our living space is shared. The living rooms, kitchens are shared. Everybody gets their own bedroom and bathroom. How are conflicts resolved? We actually have gone, that's a great question. We've gone through specialized training with people that, believe it or not, are kind of experts in terms of the management of communities like this, where there's a collective of people. And we have a complete template for setting expectations, matching people up with the right cohort if they're not all coming in as the same community, and really probably cutting problems off at the pass before they evolve. How many? 75, 60. We're not at capacity because we're not open yet. But the idea of Airbnb soft landing collaborative space for companies who visit, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. We have spoken with a lot of companies that are international and looking to come into the space, and are even more concerned about the economics of a venture into a new marketplace. In fact, we're actually working with Spark and with a Detroit Regional Partnership to tailor programs specifically for them, so that we can kind of provide that soft landing space, just in terms of not only cost, but flexibility. So our site can accommodate 60 plus people every night.
Any last minute questions for Heidi at the moment? If not, Heidi, where can people find out more about Forum?
So Eric probably the best way is for Eric just to post our contact information, our web address, www.prenticeforum.com. So we have, and we also have a site that's just for kind of like companies that are kind of interested in either riding through or ramping up during these really unusual times. Eric, I'll have Eric post that as well.
Mm-hmm. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing Forum. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the final product and being able to walk through it and see it. I've been seeing the construction every time I'm driving by it, so yeah. It's really exciting.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, so next we have Ben with Golden Record. I'm going to spotlight you. Ben, whenever you're ready, I will start your 5 minutes.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Cool.
Well, hey, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I know what you're all thinking, that, as if this year couldn't get any worse, now I've signed up to sit through a data presentation. I apologize for that, but let's give it a shot. Let me get started by asking a question. What do data scientists do? Data scientists build formulas on huge data sets to make insights about the world and predict the future. But what's interesting is usually their data doesn't come from just one place. Think about it. If you want to draw conclusions about your typical customer, you may need to bring together data from your CRM system, your sales system. Maybe you're going to bring in purchase demographic databases, email lists from MailChimp, a lot of other places. So you're not working with data from just one place. And it turns out that data prep is really hard. And tying the various data sets together is a big part of this data preparation problem. So how do data scientists do this? They use a lot of trial and error. They write a lot of custom code. They check the results. They realize that the code didn't work. The data doesn't really match up. So then they iterate. And this process can take hours, but usually it takes days, weeks, and frequently months to get the data integration, tying the data together correct. And it turns out that it's not just data scientists that have this problem. Anybody, almost anybody who works with data is going to face this issue. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and what brought me into Golden Record. First of all, for better or worse, I'm a recovering CPA, but I've actually spent the past 30 years in data integration and data analysis. Along the way, I co-authored 3 books in data warehousing, and I founded a company called Data Space. We do consulting and staffing in analytics and data science. Golden Record started with a consulting project where a client handed me a picture that looked like this. They literally called this a chaos diagram. It represented the separate databases that they needed to tie together to build an integrated view of their customers. In other words, how were they able to tell that the Ben Taub in database 3 was the same as the Ben Taub in database 12, but not the same as the Ben Taub in database 16? This problem is way more common than you might think. And to fix it, you need a way to figure out what pieces of data in all of these places are related and then tie them all together. Golden Record solves this problem. It gives companies the ability to create an integrated view of their data so they can understand their business and make better and more impactful decisions. It does this by recognizing the relationships between the different data sets and connecting the data along a single master key. For example, you've got an example here, and by the way, Adam Klein is a hidden name. It's not really a name out of the database. But you can see here that we've tied together data from a donations table, a separate list, it's actually a spreadsheet of fundraiser attendees, and a set of Twitter followers. All of these sources have different data in them, but Golden Record tied them all together with a single unifying key. So what am I looking for? I'm really looking for, hopefully going to walk out here with two things tonight. First of all, beta testers. If you're a data person or know a data person who's trying to integrate data from multiple places, I would love to talk with you, get you to use Golden Record and get your feedback. I'm also interested in finding a business co-founder, someone who can help me set the strategy and then oversee the sales and marketing business operations, and I focus more on the technology and the technical direction. So if you'd like a demonstration of Golden Record, if you'd like to become a beta tester, if you just want to chat about data and or accountancy, here's how you can reach me. And that's it. I think I came in under 5 minutes.
You did. So, Ben, thank you so much for presenting Golden Record tonight. Sounds really cool, especially given your background. Any questions for Ben? I guess the first one I'll throw out there, and I've already asked him, and I know the answer to this, but some might be asking, where did the name Golden Record come from?
Golden Record is actually, that's a good question. Actually a term of art. They're in database circles. If you can create a record, let's say we're talking about customer data, a record that has the best customer name from a particular database, and it says, hey, the best customer email address is from a different database, the best customer phone number is maybe from a third database. You put those all together into one record. That's considered the Golden Record. So now I do have some questions. Feel free to email Eric. Okay, I'm assuming that's to me.
Looks like Daniel and Paul both have questions for you.
Yeah, Daniel, do I use a random number generator to provide the ID? Actually, the ID is an MD5, a hash. It's built off the data, but there is some randomness in it. Am I forming a new company and expecting to get investors? Golden Record will be its own company, and in terms of investors, at some point we'd like investors, although that's not the focus today. If someone wants to talk about that, I'm certainly open to it. Can I put back the contact information or put it in the chat box? I would like to, oh, sure. Let me put the contact info in the chat box. Appreciate that question. Actually. Copy. And if you happen to go to this website, it's pretty ugly, but we're working on that. Is this a product company or a services business? It's a software as a service offering that runs in the cloud. Is there a target market? Frankly, the technology is an engine that you can apply to just about any matching problem. It doesn't have to be person data. It actually could be product data, location data, anything that needs to get matched up. Right now, we're targeting data scientists because I know that they have this matching problem, and they can work, frankly, with just the underlying engine. Over time, we want to build applications on top of that engine. One area that's really promising is actually in complying with data privacy laws and determining what databases all of your customers are in case they they ask to be removed from the databases. Is there a target market? Does this run on top of Oracle or SAP, et cetera, or is it a database software? It runs in the cloud. It's software as a service, so it's sitting on a database that we manage. Where does this product sit in the stack? Once again, it runs in the cloud, but it is accessible either via a user interface or an API. It's callable both ways. How much manual mapping is required across databases? I can walk, whoever's asking that, I can walk you through setup steps. You do have to, you tell Golden Record, you create what's called a golden set, which more or less equates fields across databases, but matching is a lot more intricate than just creating that golden set. Does this automate the data mapping work? Right now, the data mapping work is something that the data scientist or the user has to do. One of the ways that I see this being used up front is for people to try different matching formulas in Golden Record. Some of them are going to just keep their data in Golden Record and access it over time. Other people may take that formula and build it into their own custom software, but they've cut out that whole step where they have to write code to figure out what's the right way to match their data together. What languages are we working with? There's a lot of SQL and a lot of Python right now. How does unstructured data fit into our plan? There's a ton of enhancements that I want to do. Unstructured is one of those. Right now, what we would do, if someone wanted to use unstructured data, we'd run an algorithm against it to add some structure to it. So some sort of data science algorithm. I think that's the last of the questions for me.
Yeah, we got about another minute for Q&A. Any other questions for, there we go.
Oh, why am I focusing on data scientists rather than more commercially profitable sectors? That's a great question. I do want to get to larger commercially profitable sectors, but data scientists, because they have this need and they can kind of use the technology as is, just use the engine directly, it's a good way to get the technology built and tested and enhanced, and then we can build vertical market applications on top of it, or have other people white label our engine as they're building vertical market technologies on top of it.
Cool. All right, looks like that's the last question for now, but Ben, thank you so much for taking the time today to pitch Golden Record. And if you out there are interested in supporting Golden Record through either testing or know good companies who could be using Golden Record and what they do, Ben provided his information there with his email as well as the website, and I think he'll be hanging out for the break room for a little bit afterwards as well.
Thank you so much, Hyan. Really appreciate it.
Cool. All right, so now we will move on to Bramble with Tim. I'm going to spotlight you real quick. Cool. And whenever you're ready, feel free to share your screen and jump right into it.
Right. Thanks so much, everyone. Ben, really cool product. Actually, that was awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Blair. I am the founder and CEO at Bramble, which is the everything cart. We're an Ann Arbor-based company whose mission is to enable frictionless online shopping by providing a personalized and streamlined path to purchase. So if you're anything like me, when I'm a big online shopper, and especially around the holidays, I start looking for stuff. I want to compare stuff across different sites on the internet, maybe try some new brands. Maybe they're unfamiliar, right? There's something that I know my mom likes, I know my sister likes, I know my dad likes. When I'm on the site, trying not to shop on Amazon, run into different blocks all the time, right? Anything from I have to type in too many fields, I found something fun and I forgot my credit card on the other side of the room, to you know, I have to make another account, have to put my email in, right? And all these little points of friction become problems where people, you know, people like me don't actually convert a sale for a retailer. And this is actually one of the biggest problems in retail in general these days. E-commerce is growing gangbusters, but 70% of digital carts are abandoned on any given store. And this is actually a problem that's only gotten worse. And 40% are abandoned directly from an experience related issue, right? This is the had to create a guest account, too many fields, something around the decision-making process wasn't right in terms of timing. And this is what drives people onto Amazon and away from smaller retailers. And this is kind of the #1 reported experience reason people use Amazon. And it kind of is why Amazon's now 30% of the US e-commerce market. So, and retailers know this is a problem. We've talked to a bunch of different ones, as big as Nike, as small as some local Ann Arbor shops. And their leading solution right now is email text marketing or going to list on Amazon. And when you do that, really eats into your margins. It can be as high as a 30% list price fee that Amazon takes. You're sacrificing data, and you also get none of your actual brand value on the site. So introducing Bramble, I'm not going to go too deep into it because we only have 5 minutes, but basically our solution is to build a cloud-hosted cart that is connected to you as a shopper's profile. That includes your sizes, preferences, billing, shipping information, outlets in terms of actually being able to shop with. It's an extension for something like Chrome, a website, as well as a mobile app. We're leveraging the e-commerce platforms of smaller sites in order to really integrate with the store's backend, so that, you know, when you add something on one place, it persists in the cart and is available on all avenues, kind of connecting you fully omni-channel. And so, you know, it's just a one click of a button, no matter what website you show up at to check out. We're thinking we're going beyond that. One of the things we found in our research too is what we can do with the data collected from this is also something that simultaneously doesn't exist, and marketing teams at all of these companies, big and small, are really interested in obtaining, as well as it's a demand aggregator. So lots of potentials beyond just the initial cart product that we're working on designing. So value the everything cart. We see this as a super valuable product on the retailer side, improve conversions and reduce abandoned carts, and still be able to, you know, own your brand data and margins, know who's landing on your page at all times. For shoppers, seamless checkout process that brings it to that gold standard of Amazon nowadays, as you organize all the products you're interested in buying across the internet. How we stack up, you know, major highlights for us we see is that one cart saved, one touch checkout, and really being able to connect across stores, right? Amazon is one centralized place, but there's no equivalent experience that brings that to the, what if I want to buy something from J. Crew? What if I want to buy something from, you know, Williams-Sonoma? And for retailers, improve your conversions, own your brand, own your data, and own your margins. You don't really have to risk Amazon seeing that X product sells well, and suddenly there's an Amazon Basics product that pops up 6 months later that is force ranked higher in the search return every single time. E-commerce as a market, absolutely massive, right? It's $500 billion and growing at more than a 6% CAGR now in the pandemic, and has fared incredibly well. We're targeting originally the Shopify market, but we're expecting, you know, the overall size of the available subset of e-commerce is still $250 billion. So we're hoping to get a 1% penetration in the next few years of our product after we launch. Revenue streams, primarily cart plugin. We're doing a SaaS fee plus a booking fee per revenue, and then figuring out some more of the pricing details when it comes to monetizing our additional product suite after. Our team consists of me, who I currently an MBA at U of M, have a background in tech product development and finance, and my wonderful CMO, who's also on the call here, Jamie, who spent over 5 years at Nike in digital and apparel marketing. And we'd love your support. We're very excited to be here today. We're looking for tech talent. We would love to bring on a technical co-founder, or we have the opportunity, we've raised some funds already, and we have the opportunity to just contract out the development of a beta version, potential angels for investment down the road. We'd love to connect. or any contacts in the e-commerce space, or just meeting fellow entrepreneurs. We don't have that deep of an entrepreneurial network, so yeah, happy to connect with anyone.
Cool. That was great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Looks like you already have a question here.
Yeah.
Looks like our first question is
See,
from
I abandon
Paul.
carts because the item price is not quoted until the cart is accessed. Oh, that was okay.
Yeah,
What effort is required of small retailers to participate? So for small retailers, it depends on what the platform is you're using, but from if you're on something, or long-term, if you're on like a Squarespace, or you're on Shopify, or you're on WooCommerce, right? These are engines that power hundreds of thousands of stores and their digital presences. Should be as simple as the click of a button to install. They all have marketplaces, and in a similar way to you install apps from your phone, or you can even, a good analogy is, or a good example that might be more popular is Salesforce. Salesforce is a marketplace too. Download it, and it should be a pretty quick connection. Do you have a sense of acquisition costs in this space? So acquisition costs from the user side, we're expecting to be higher than it is from the company side. We've actually seen very, very favorable feedback when it comes to the brand side. Everyone who's been a digital product manager is instantly interested in this as a product, because this is something that they've all said is their core problem that they're trying to solve. Acquisition costs when it comes to users, we're thinking is probably going to be a little bit high, but that is a problem that we are still in the process of figuring out the specifics for. What is our unique value proposition? So at the moment, our unique value proposition is to be able to completely manage the end-to-end path to purchase when it comes to shopping outside of Amazon, while still enabling, from the storefront, still enabling stores to keep their digital presence, keep their branding, and keep their data. What do you envision is being difficult to access the various internal databases which may have their own specific programming language? Yeah, so one of the nice things about these standard e-commerce platforms, which is something that is kind of a recent development in the retail market, is that they all have very standard APIs. So a lot of these companies that we're targeting actually have an identical backend, right? That's kind of what I mentioned earlier, that Shopify is our initial target, is that they all have cart, billing, shipping, order management functionality can all be accessed and managed through one standard API, which means that the entire set of over $80 billion in sales flow across that platform a year is instantly accessible once we build out that API integration. And for every subsequent group, Magento, WooCommerce. Does the cart allow people to compare prices across vendors? If so, will vendors be hesitant? Yes, so this is actually one of the core value propositions when it comes to the user side. Comparison pricing specifically for Gen Z and millennial women, we've noticed is something that is they're very interested in doing, and they're incredibly selective shoppers. For vendors, we think that the ability to keep people digitally tethered to products for longer is enough of a value add that even, they know that people compare across stores regardless. They know that particularly female shoppers will have those 25 tabs open in Chrome, and they know that they are going to click across every single tab and find similar products. So far, we actually haven't seen hesitation from them when it comes to that. They're more hesitant on the privacy aspect, but I think that's, table stakes when it comes to any software vendor.
And Tim, we have about another minute for you to answer questions, just at least out loud,
Sure.
and obviously
Yeah.
be able to afterwards.
Competitors inside and outside the US market. Inside the US, Amazon's a huge competitor. One of our other big ones is just the function of like autofill. but there's no direct analog in terms of product outside. Alibaba, or I think it's called A2NewTech, is something that seems kind of similar out of China. I definitely butchered the name of that, but it seems to do something somewhat similar. Would this work with a service industry that uses its own shopping cart? I guess that depends on what the background cart is. We haven't really looked at services. We've been mostly focusing on physical goods sold online. Is the value for the consumer or the merchant? Both. It's an inefficient marketplace at the moment, so we're hoping to provide value on both sides of the two-sided marketplace product.
Okay. Maybe time for maybe one more question.
Yeah. How do you differ from mycala.com? I'm not that familiar with mycala, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Well, that was a short one, but Tim, thank you so much for your time today with Bramble.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you shared some of those stats earlier, like they were kind of mind-boggling to see the cart abandonment. So if you can do something about that, I'm sure everybody will all remember the day we all heard about Bramble.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Cool.
And here's our emails if anyone is interested in reaching out and connecting. We'd love to hear from you.
Perfect. And if you don't mind, if you can just shoot those
that
into the chat, that'd be great.
Cool.
And yeah, and then we'll round things out with Tom. I'm gonna spotlight him real quick and let him talk about Cubed. So whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Let me share screen, and I will do my best not to forget that I'm sharing screen and just ramble as I do. So let me know if this is coming up.
Yep. Your screen shared if you put in presentation mode.
Yep.
Here you go.
Okay. So Cubed is something I've been working on for a number of years, and it's probably better to start with a little background. I've been in consumer products development for about 20 years now, most of which is done overseas, but I've been developing product from concept to retail market for longer than I care to admit. I have been with smaller startups, taking some brands from 2 people to some brand equity within the market. I, for a while, ran my own consulting company, and that consulting company focused on some of the emerging Chinese brands that are on Amazon, some of which you may or may not have heard of. Aki, Naipo, Xiaomi was one of my customers for a while. These are brands that average anywhere between 25 to over 300 million on Amazon. And it was helping them align their brand with the US market. So my background is in consumer products. I do have some background in tech, but that's not really my specialty. And at the moment, my keeping the lights on job is with a major US brand where I'm the director of all new product categories. So that's what I do. I take products to market, and I have shipped literally tens of millions of units of product through major US retail. I got into Cubed because I do have not only a background in consumer products, but also a background in wellness. So one of the most neglected areas of retail and of consumer products is in the workspace. And it's, you know, it's interesting. We've seen some talk about workspace today. If you think about where you spend your time as a human, it's in the bed. It is where you're going to spend between 6 and 8 hours a day. The biggest other block of your time is at work, whether that's in an office or in a coffee shop or in your home office, which we're seeing more of. It is an incredibly neglected part of retail today. It's a category that doesn't get a lot of focus, especially on the wellness side. And typically the companies that come into this space are singular products. They try to solve a singular issue, whether it's posture or the temperature, or trying to help your focus. No one has actually brought to market a true ecosystem of products that all work together, and where the value of each product is enhanced as you add any new products within that ecosystem, because they all work together. It's IoT, they're connected, they share data, They provide feedback. There's a back end to help basically better the entire work environment. So anything from temperature, your ability to focus is very much determined by lighting conditions, by distractions, by noise, by the way you sit at your desk. And again, we've seen some innovation come into the space with sit-stand desks. You see a little bit of biofeedback products that have come into market. Again, primarily focused on solving that independent issue as opposed to the entire ecosystem. So what we're focused on is the entire 8-day workday, helping you get started, helping you be focused, helping to provide the best all-around solution. And to give you an idea of how these things can work, some of the products that are in development right now are, and I'll just focus on a single space or a single use case, which would be the temperature in your ambient environment. It's one thing to have a fan that helps create airflow. It's another to have a fan that works with a humidifier, because relative humidity greatly impacts the average temperature within your room. If you add that to an air purifier, even a small one that sits on the desk, and then you're working with heaters and you're working with coolers, the ability to actually control your environment isn't based off a single product. It's based off of all of these products working together in concert, so that not a single product doesn't have to do all the job. And in fact, the ones that do typically don't work very well. As a flywheel, which is where we're focusing our work, the idea is to get people in with product. The consumer will not look at us as an ecosystem company. They won't look at us as a flywheel. They will look at us as a products company. It's the back end that's doing all the heavy lifting. But once you get into the ecosystem, we believe it will be way easier to keep you within the system, because the value of any other competitive product won't be nearly as strong as the value of a cubed product, because these will all work together. Anything outside of the space obviously will not. This is a pretty long presentation, so I'm going to skip through some of it. There's a lot of some of the questions that people may throw at me in terms of the financial overviews and how we're pricing this model. And this speaks a little bit more to my background, but having been in distribution, having been in e-commerce, having been in retail, really the secret sauce behind this is my ability to launch product. It's what I do. I've launched products D2C. I've launched them within retail. I have very strong partnerships within retail, tier 1 sales rep groups that I've already discussed this line with. I already have, obviously not commitments, because Target doesn't commit to an idea, but the avenues are all in place to bring this to market, including some distribution partners, which will be the early groups that, again, this has already been well discussed with DAS, Petra, Parallel, some of the right partners within this space. And I'm trying to go really fast because this is a really tough line to describe in 5 minutes. So just throw the questions at me at the end if you want. What I want to get to is at least just give you a preview of what the first product is, so that you can understand how we're going to come into market in the first place. So the first product is and the name is not final, so you guys can all laugh at this name. We'll come up with something a little bit better. But bottom line is, it is a heater cooler. It sits under the desk. It uses a Peltier plate. It really does work. I've gone through 2 rounds of prototypes so far, where you put your feet upon this surface, and using your app, you can raise or lower your body temperature quickly and easily. There are programs designed to manage it for you, right? So they're going to take the temperature as well as help you monitor or help you raise or lower your temperature. All of the information will be housed within the app, and then eventually, as we launch new products, this is going to work in concert with some of the other Cube products that we bring to market. The idea behind this is to actually get product into market initially before any of the rest of this comes out. Cubed will be essentially in stealth mode for a number of years. We're going to launch some products via Kickstarter. This will be the first one. This product is 95% complete. My manufacturer has already done all of the heavy lifting. Like I said, we've got the prototypes complete. We're working on the back end, the UI. This right now is based off of Bluetooth mesh, but we're designing it so that we could potentially flip it to a Zig mesh or a Wi-Fi system versus Bluetooth. But for the moment, this is going to be based on Bluetooth mesh. So we'll probably be launching this within about 4 months. I'm working with some groups like Jellup. I haven't determined exactly who we're going to go with, but we are working with some marketing companies that specialize in taking you all the way through market on Kickstarter. There's about 5 products in the pipeline right now that already have, they're at various stages of prototyping that will just start rolling out once about every 6 months. We'll launch a new one so that within the first 2 years, we'll have about 5 products in market and the ecosystem will start to make a little bit more sense once we get there. So that's the preview of Cubed, and sorry if I'm just flooding everything really fast. What am I looking for? This has been developed by myself. Obviously, I've got some deep relationships overseas that I've been working with as well. They're not just factory partners. These are people that I've known for 15 years in some cases. There's a very high level of trust. And so in a lot of cases, I've been able to bootstrap this, not just on my own, but they've really partnered with me to help me bring this at a very low cost to market. So eventually I know that I'm going to need, some support within marketing. I'm not a technology guy. I understand, I speak geek very well, but I don't have a background in it. So that's something I'll be looking for UI and the development as we start getting more into that.
Cool. And Tommy, thank you so much for your time for presenting Cube today. I really love the idea of it being an ecosystem, and I really hadn't thought about the fact that a lot of this has coming out like as a standalone products or solutions for one part of it rather than the whole ecosystem. So it sounds really cool. Looking forward to kind of seeing this, the hot and cold body conversation come to life in the next few months. Until then, I think the next best thing would be maybe some questions for Tommy from those in the audience.
And I'm trying to find where the chat is. It disappeared from my screen. What am I missing?
Just find the Zoom app somewhere. As you're looking for that, I'll read off any questions that may come up. None at the moment, but like
there we go. Okay.
So I guess the first question I'll ask just to start. Oh, never mind. We got one from Ben.
So Homedics is so the competitor Homedics would actually be more of an acquisition target. One of the ideas behind Cubed is that it is designed to have an exit, and it's not that I necessarily want to get in and out of something, but my background does include some companies that have been positioned exactly for that, to get into space, create a new demographic that is of appeal to some of the brands that have a larger retail presence, and they're already a vendor of record with some of the retail targets that would actually be a good match here. So Homedics is somebody, Philips, people in that space, yes. Manufacturing will take place overseas. My background is primarily China, but I have developed in Korea, the Philippines, Vietnam. So most likely for this foot station, it's in China at the moment. Is your mobile app going to be MVP, hybrid, or native? You just lost me on that one. That's where clearly I need some more help in this one. I would assume it's going to be a native app. We're talking an install, so unless I'm missing something, it's not like a web-based one. Are you planning to open up your platform to other hardware manufacturers to work with? We haven't thought about that. It's not something we've discussed. It's an interesting concept that I should think about more. It's not clear to me what kind of talent you need. I've built in some companies. If anyone wants to reach out to me, please do. So I don't need a lot of support on the product side. I know how to bring a product to market. While I have done some IoT products in the past, they've been essentially ready-baked type of products. So I assume that there's going to be some landmines I haven't thought about that will come up as I get more into this. And so anyone in that space that has interest, please reach out. Is there potential B2C here? It's definitely something we've talked about. It's a little bit more difficult when that's a different market. So my background is not in B2C. My background is in retail and e-com. Obviously, B2C has moved quite a bit to e-com, where it didn't used to be there at all. So it's a market we're going to look at, but I don't have a lot of connections in that space. So I'm going to target where, a sandbox that I know well. Am I looking for investors? It's interesting. I actually had an incubator in Texas, which is where I'm from. I'm based here in Michigan. This is obviously where we're going to stay, but I have a lot of friends in VC and some angel guys in Texas that I talked to about this, and it was a pretty hot response, including some offers if I were to move to Texas to go through some incubation programs, which I'm not going to do. Eventually, we'll probably need some investment dollars, but it's not something I need out of the gate.
Okay, we got maybe another minute or so for Q&A with Tommy. Any other questions for him? I guess my first one for you is like, why did you start with the product that you're starting with now for Cubed? Why was that like product number one to put to market?
This is a company that I've worked with in the past, and everyone's welcome to, if you want to look up on Amazon, there's a product by the brand Nomoto, which is a drink heater cooler. And that's a product I launched. It did, fairly well for Amazon. We sold about 3 million over about a year and a half in revenue. That was not something that I owned outright. That was me working for another brand to bring that to market. But that factory that I developed that with, that's the factory that I've known for quite a while. And between they and myself, we've just been riffing on ideas and came up with this. So it's something that I was able to bring to market with somebody that I actually trust to work with very closely, and that it just made sense to start with that. Along with these products, are you also working with the builders of the office living space? I'm not, but I do have some. I have some friends in Dallas that have a startup that it's a little bit similar to what we heard earlier, but not exactly. So what they do is they bring in these soundproof cubes into coffee shops, and they install them at no cost to the coffee shop, and they sell a subscription for people to be able to have a soundproof place to go take phone calls and do some work while you are working, telecommuting out and about. And they are an early opportunity to have some co-branding, because he and I have discussed as we launch this, we're just in such a great space together that we'll probably be working with them to have some of our products in their work cubes.
Cool. Well, with that, I think that's our time for the Q&A, but feel free to, I think there were a couple more things that popped in that you want to take a look at them and answer them. Before we move any further, I want to thank all of our pitches tonight. They were all great, varying industries and backgrounds, which is always great and cool. So before we go into the community announcements, I want to say, if you, we saw a whole bunch of entrepreneurs in the polls. So if you have a product or business to pitch, feel free to shoot me an email at hein@a2newtech.org. I'm going to share my email below here. And, the first thing they're going to think about is if you are beyond the idea portion of it, at least, and you've gone to some customer discovery. But yeah, feel free to shoot out an email to me. We'd love to kind of hear about the different pitches that you have, and be able to share with our community. Now we move into our community announcements portion. So if you have an announcement to announce, sorry for the redundancy there, whether it's a meetup you want to promote, position you're hiring for, looking for a co-founder or collaborator, whatever it may be, feel free to shoot it into the chat and give a couple minutes for that. What we'll do is we'll copy and paste those over to our meetup page, and then we'll see it. So yeah, feel free to shoot it in there. Even it could be a service or a product that you're offering as well. I'm sure people are feverishly typing as I'm talking right now, stalling for time. But it's always scary and sweat-inducing for that first 30 or 60 seconds when I see no announcements to be announced. Okay. I'm gonna give folks a little bit more time to write in their announcements if they want to. As you do that, I will just kind of just wrap things up. Cool. Okay. All right. So well, as people write things up, there's a statewide virtual career fair. You can check it out at back2michigan.com. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Jennifer. Okay, so A2NewTech, it's always the third Tuesday of each month. So hope to have you all join again next month in our November one, which will be on November 17th. So right before Turkey Day. As I've already mentioned, if you're interested in pitching or know someone who should be pitching, they can shoot me an email at hein@a2newtech.org. And yeah, again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Virtually give a round of applause for our presenters tonight. They all did really great. And having pitched myself on little random things, especially with 5 minutes, it's a really scary amount of time to present something. So go out there and give it a try yourself too. I really appreciate that, but I also appreciate everyone who's been presenting tonight. What I'm going to do now as we wrap things up is I'm just going to throw everybody into some breakout rooms so you can do some quick networking. Just hang out with folks as much as you can. And I'm going to remember how to do the breakout rooms because it's been a minute since I've done that. Let's see.